Geoff Marcy is a brilliant scientist who did pioneering work in exoplanets and voluntarily ended his university career. In 2015, the latter hit the headlines after allegations of sexual harassment against him. After keeping quiet for a few years, he is now in the center of a controversy as a scientific article, which included his name in the list of authors, was retracted. A mob raged on Twitter again, and a science article sought to humiliate Marcy. Sound too crazy to be true? Welcome to the world of science in 2023, because unfortunately, it's not. For transparency purposes, it's no coincidence that the author of this book about exoplanets, where Geoff Marcy wrote the foreword, and this YouTube channel have the same name, because without the support of Geoff Marcy, there would probably be neither the book nor this channel. Already in several videos, we've dealt with the outstanding scientific achievements of Marcy. Once again, we'd like to note that it's a pity that, in 2019, he didn't receive the Nobel Prize in Physics together with two other researchers of exoplanets, Mayer and Queloz. That universities and the academic world are difficult places at the moment has been known since the controversies around Jordan Peterson. Academic achievements count less and less. Instead, there is contact guilt, cancel culture, and a self-righteous moral superiority of a small but very loud minority. In an interview with Bill Maher a few weeks ago, Elon Musk spoke of a woke mind virus that's very dangerous. But what happened? In 2015, BuzzFeed reported after a 6-month investigation, Geoff Marcy, a professor at the University of California, Berkeley, who's been mentioned as a potential Nobel laureate, was found to have violated campus sexual harassment policies between 2001 and 2010. 4 women alleged that Marcy repeatedly engaged in inappropriate physical behavior with students, including unwanted massages, kisses, and groping. Groping, by the way, is referred to him laying a hand on the student's shoulders. Marcy wrote a letter of apology and later released a statement with his side of the story, linked, as all sources are, in the video description. Now, we don't want to downplay sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior by professors, as we're aware it has certainly hurt a lot of people. It's good that there is a greater awareness of this today, but the allegations in Marcy's case do not warrant a year-long witch hunt against him. Geoff's wife, Susan Kegley, notes, Geoff's primary mistake was to treat students like good friends. Clearly, you cannot do this in these days and times. Curiously, it was UFO researcher Nick Pope who drew my attention through his tweet to an article by Lawrence M. Krauss and thus to the whole affair. Nick Pope commented, "If UFO Twitter can be brutal, astronomy Twitter can be worse. If things are already more civilized among ufologists than in the academic world, then the shit is really hitting the fan." So let's get to the current events. In late March of this year, an article about exoplanets appeared on arxiv.org from Cornell University, with Marcy's name appearing in 3rd place, and to which he contributed scientifically. This sparked a mob on Twitter, prompting several co-authors to withdraw their names, and Science reported on the matter in mid-May. Yet the Science article doesn't even try for a shred of objectivity. Instead, the entire article is a single indictment of Marcy, primarily using anonymous keyword contributors to publicly humiliate him. How dare he still scientifically contribute to anything? After all, he is an outcast. True, this has nothing to do with science or journalism, and is more reminiscent of an inquisitor during the Spanish Inquisition. But the media nowadays are not what they used to be. That's why on May 25th, Lawrence M. Krauss, also a scientist who wrote an excellent book about the physics of Star Trek, published his article, taking sides with Marcy, which truly not many do, as Krauss himself expresses. For as Marcy's wife reports, he has been a big supporter of women in science his entire career, yet hardly anyone is willing to take a public stand for him. Krauss continues, in the current political environment, few are willing to stand against the pitchforks. 2 senior female astronomers, to whom I sent a draft of this piece for possible comment prior to publication, indicated that they agreed with the expressed views but would not be willing to say so publicly. One stated that she didn't want her students and postdocs to have a supervisor who could be viewed as guilty by association. Shouldn't the mob mentality that produces this kind of fear be deemed at least as worthy of condemnation by the scientific community? The scientific community is not doing itself any favors with its merciless behavior. This is reminiscent of the dark times before the Age of Enlightenment. If Marcy behaved inappropriately toward a handful of women during his long career, which has not been clearly proven, although some media portray it differently, as the result of the university investigation was to help him understand how his friendly actions could be misinterpreted. This was now more than 13 years ago, and he apologized 8 years ago for possibly hurting others. Then he was not fired from the university but voluntarily resigned. It is one of the great achievements of the legal system that there is a statute of limitations. In any case, mob mentality does not bring justice. That's why Marcy doesn't deserve to be publicly opposed and humiliated in 2023. No human is free from making mistakes and stupid decisions, even if some people on Twitter think they're infallible and always make the right decisions. As long as you're willing to learn from your mistakes, you should be given the chance by other people. Krauss asks in his article, in the future, will everyone who writes scientific papers first have to be vouched for by some social justice tribunal that assesses their moral purity? And if so, using what criteria and under what statute of limitations? It seems that science is in a serious crisis. Thank you for your attention. What's your opinion? Write it in the comments.